Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the live stream for Student Loan Justice. It is Sunday, May 29th, 2022. Hope everybody is doing well out there in the world. Lots going on right now. I'm going to just dive right into it. If you're watching us on YouTube, on Twitter, or on Facebook, then please, by all means, leave your comments live, and I will be happy to respond to them. If you're not, then sorry about that. If you'd like to join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups, that's SLJ group. That's pretty much where most of the action is. So just so you know. So things are going great, guys. We got a really good article published yesterday. It was really more of a response letter at the Tallahassee Democrat in Florida. But in the universe of opinion pieces being written about student loans today, this one here that we got published, quite literally, is not only the best, but one of the only actually good, and of course, that's in my humble opinion, but truly, it's truly one of the only decent pieces to be written on this topic. I don't do much more than spit facts. And so in this 500-word little essay, all I did was I spit a bunch of facts, like the fact that we're not kids. Most student loan borrowers over 35, people over 50 now outnumber people under 25 with student loans. That the federal government is going to be doing fine. The taxpayer will do fine when the loans are canceled. In fact, the loans could be canceled entirely tomorrow, and the federal government would be losing little, if not nothing. And that's a very important point that's never made. It kills all the nonsense that we're seeing in the zeitgeist right now. And so, the pro-con rate, so I should say the con-pro rate, the people against us compared to the people for us, if you believe the newspapers, is like 15-1 against. But that's nonsense. 1 out of 5 of everybody has student loans, and they have friends and family. And plus, people aren't dumb. Make no mistake, there's a manufactured media push being lodged against us by the bad people. And when I say the bad people, I mean, who knows who all I mean. It's a pretty small number of people, but they are the people making money on the worst big government, college enriching, red state wrecking loan scam in U.S. history. Let me back up a little bit. If you're new to the group, welcome, first of all. We are studentloanjustice.org. We are the oldest, largest, first, and in many ways only true grassroots group. We're not aligned with either party. We're nonpartisan. We're a truly grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. We've been around for 17 years now. We've done a lot of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. What we have done mostly, though, is we've done research. And we've looked at this problem in a very cold and dispassionate way, relying typically mostly on only Department of Education data. So that's maybe the first thing you should know. We don't say things like the two things that I just said without being supremely sure of them. So we know what we speak. So right now it is extremely difficult, if not impossible, to get a good opinion piece published in the newspapers in the country. Believe me, we've written stuff in the New York Times multiple times, in the Hill, in the Los Angeles Times, in the Boston Globe, many other places. Let me just say, we've written stuff all over the country. And pretty much ever since COVID hit, but really even maybe a year or so before that, it became incredibly difficult to get our stuff published in normal newspapers, normal magazines. And this became extremely true during the pandemic. And why that is, I don't know. But the media landscape is geared strongly against us. So like very simple facts, like the fact that most student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent. Like most student loan borrowers were not even making payments before the pandemic. Simple, true facts like that are almost impossible for us to get out. Thankfully, there are some exceptions to the rule. So, for example, last Sunday we were featured in The Guardian. Our members were featured in The Guardian. And that fact that I just said about how most borrowers were not paying on their student loans before the pandemic, that was finally broken. But, you know, it's so difficult now, guys, because there's so many articles being written about student loans that people, it's very hard for them to find ours. On the rare occasion that we do get stuff published out there. So it's difficult, guys. I don't think that the media is going to solve this problem for us. Although it should be helping a lot more than it is, I'll tell you, it's just disgusting. We've got a battle on our hands, folks. You know, this is a battle very easily won. But you've got to help us. You've got to help us because word of mouth, it's looking increasingly like word of mouth is pretty much the only way we're going to win this thing. So I'm looking for your comments now. So the article was good. It was written uniquely for a Florida audience because, as I said, it was the Tallahassee Democrat. We made a bunch of the points that we normally make, and we tailored it to Florida. Did you know that there's $120 billion in student loan debt in the state of Florida? So in other words, the people of Florida owe nearly, it's about $119.5 billion in student loans. And the vast majority of that, 87% or something like that, is federal student loan debt. So it's owed directly to the government. $120 billion. Interestingly, the assessed value of Disney World is only $2 billion. So, at least on paper, you could pay for Disney World 60 times with the student loan debt that is sitting over the people of the state of Florida. So give the piece a read if you get a chance to. If you can leave a comment, that would be spectacular. Unfortunately, it looks to me like Yahoo is censoring the comments. We got at least a dozen people today saying they couldn't leave a comment and that they were getting this bark back message from Yahoo saying something like, in an effort to keep Yahoo safe, we are closing comments on this article. That is just ridiculous, guys. It's ridiculous. So that's just stupid. Hey, I see we already have some comments here. Vanjie's with us tonight. So is Terry Dodd. Hey, guys. Or should I say gals? I think we have more comments than even that, but let me just get right into it. Ridiculous, guys. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous, as I said. Hey, Terry Dodd says, do those daily actions, everybody, if you want these loans gone. Oh, do those daily actions, everybody, if you want those loans gone. Thank you, Terry. Don't believe that so-called rumor around Biden administration canceling $10,000 in loans. We will get S-2598 passed only if you do your part. Instead of waiting and watching, your loans, your problem. Remember that. Terry, I couldn't say it better myself. Terry's telling everyone, number one, do our daily actions. And if you go to our website, studentloanjustice.org, right there, you will see our daily actions. They're very quick. They're not hard to do. It's like Twitter stuff mainly. It's like retweet this, retweet this, and this is like usually what the daily action is. It will take you 45 seconds to do. It's not hard at all. You can do it. Believe me. You need a Twitter account. I hate Twitter. A lot of people hate Twitter, but Twitter works, guys. Twitter actually does work. In fact, we're right on the cusp of getting a nice article / news thing done, news segment done in Washington, D.C. because of Twitter. So anyways, I'm here to tell you, I hate Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter account, as Terry just said, these are your loans. This is your fight. This is your problem. This is your battle. You need to step up and help us fight. It feels really good to fight, by the way, and hopefully Terry would agree. I know Vanjie probably would agree. Good on Vanjie, by the way. Vanjie was featured in a nice article last week, Monday, I believe, that told a very compelling human story. It wasn't just her; it was 4 other people as well. Very strong. I hope some of you saw us on Fox News about a month and a half, about 5 weeks ago. Another very strong piece. We got hit hard, by the way. We went into the lion's den and was like, why should the taxpayers have to pay for your loan, Mr. Collins? It was like that. And we love that, by the way. We love going into the lion's den. That's where this battle is won, because every single thing that the bad guys are saying against us is wrong. Wrong. So we have not only good answers, we have crushing, blowing answers. Not blowing. They don't blow. We have crushing, nuclear strong answers to completely shut down the opposition, guys. We can't go wrong. These loans are weaponized, and there's no defending them. And anybody who tries to defend them either doesn't know what they're talking about, or they are being paid to defend them. And all they have is nonsense, untruths, misconceptions, and shameless spin to bolster their argument. We have the truth. Like, everything they say is wrong. I'm not kidding you. So if you want to throw out some of the hard questions, like play devil's advocate, or maybe you are a bad person, if you want to take us on, just throw out any of the things the bad guys say, and I will knock them down in about 15 seconds. Not hard to do, guys. Not hard. We are on the right side of this argument. Make no mistake. This lending system is done. This lending system is finished. And if you go to bit.ly/student loans finished, you will see why that is true. This lending system is done. The loans will not be paid. The loans should not be paid. The loans will be canceled. And I'm not talking about this $10,000 nonsense that Terry just mentioned from Joe Biden. That's nonsense. These loans will be canceled largely. So, and hopefully that will come quickly. And if we work hard, and as Terry says, if you get into this fight and help us with our daily actions, it will happen way more quickly. It will happen far sooner rather than later. And when I say later, I could mean when you die. It could be that much later. We don't want that, right, guys? We want these loans done, gone, now. If you want that, then you need to help us. And it's just that simple. The media is aligned by and large against us. And word of mouth is kind of the only way that we're going to win this. Make no mistake, guys, we're strong. We are the largest untethered voting bloc in U.S. history. You know, there are probably 57 or so million, 57 million student loan borrowers and cosigners in the country. I'm including private loans, by the way. But the vast majority of those are federal student loan borrowers. That's 43.2 million people. And 80% of those 43 or 57 million people were distressed on their student loans, even before the pandemic. So that is a massive, untethered voting bloc. This group is nonpartisan. This issue is nonpartisan. No matter how hard the Democrats and Republicans try and make it a partisan issue, it is not. As I said earlier, I think more than half of student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent. And the worst hit states are southern red states. So unless you've been living under a rock, you would notice that at least in Washington, D.C., the Democrats would appear to be on our side, while the Republicans would appear to be against us. And that's all just nonsense, guys. It's just partisan food fighting. I don't believe any of that nonsense, guys. The truth of the matter is we are the largest untethered voting bloc in U.S. history. And both parties screw with us at their great, great peril. 57 million people is nearly enough to elect a president outright. That's a lot of people. We absolutely made all the difference in the Georgia elections last 2020. Make no mistake, we did. Now, For a minute, this was kind of a partisan issue because Biden was making all kinds of promises before the election. And I will tell you that a ton of people voted Democratic because of Biden's mouth. Well, that partisanness is now gone because Biden betrayed us. Like we knew he would, by the way. And we were telling everybody, no, he doesn't mean it, ladies and gentlemen. He does not mean it. Biden's not a good guy. We knew he wasn't a good guy. We didn't endorse him. So make no mistake on that. But yeah, we're a nonpartisan group. And no matter what your politics are, you're very welcome here. That's the first thing I want to say. Hey, Karen Standridge is with us tonight. Hey, Karen. First time attendee, I believe. I downloaded Twitter, I think you mean Twitter, just for this. I don't know much about it, but I just followed everyone I knew in order for this to happen. Thank you, Karen. I love that. Yeah, I myself have only been doing Twitter like seriously for about a year now. But many of our members have gotten new Twitter accounts just to be helping with this deal, with these daily actions. So I salute you, Karen. Thank you. And if you have any questions about how to use Twitter, you can ask anybody on our group. And we've got a bunch of Twitter studs walking around, and they're very smart. People like Heather at studentloanjustice.org. Heather is our global leader, by the way. Heather's great with Twitter. She can give you the down low. Also, we have a Twitter army on Facebook, and I will paste the link to that here in the comments below this live stream on Facebook when I'm finished here. Join our Twitter army. It's super easy, guys. It's not even hard. It's kind of like our daily actions, but it's only Twitter. It's like what I do is I take all of our Twitter stuff from our daily action and I post it in our Twitter army. So, but potentially that is the strongest muscle we have to flex, guys. And so, we're not a small group, by the way. I know it seems like we are. We certainly have like almost no funding. We're not trying to build a Washington, D.C. empire here, guys. We are. I wasn't kidding when I said we are truly grassroots. We are just normal people. We actually don't. There's actually no student loan justice legal entity. There is not. It doesn't exist. We are just as grassroots as grassroots gets, and that means that the muscle we don't have a staff. We don't have we have all volunteers. We don't have a marketing department. We don't have a lobbying department. We don't have any of those things. All we have are normal people. And that's all we really need. We're all we've got, but we're all we need at the same time. We have a massive muscle to flex, ladies and gentlemen. Can you imagine if Joe Biden got 1 million Twitter things from us one day? We could blow up the White House. Not literally. We could blow up the White House with tweets. Important. Don't take that out of context. So Gordon says, did you miss anything? No, I don't think so, Gordon. We did get a great article published in the Tallahassee Democrat. And right now it looks like, and you can see that all over our website. I will post a link to it here in the comments as well. Try to comment on that article. It got picked up by Yahoo News, but Yahoo News is apparently censoring the comments. If you can take maybe a little bit of time, particularly if you're from Florida, and get yourself a quick Tallahassee Democrat account and weigh in on the comments on that article at the Tallahassee Democrat, very helpful. If you can get a comment through on Yahoo, again, that's also very, very helpful. The good articles coming out on this are very few, very far between, guys. So I just cannot overstate the importance of all of us doing our part individually. And by the way, if you need help, if you don't know what to say type of thing, it's very simple. Go to our Medium platform, studentloanjustice.medium.com, right there. Yeah, right there. studentloanjustice.medium.com. Go there and read like 6 or 7 of our most recent articles. If you do that, you will know enough to be a very dangerous and very capable student loan justice warrior. I would also maybe say A very handy tool for everybody out there who I see is fighting this fight on Twitter, on Facebook, and many other places. Check out our bit.ly links. So go to bit.ly, bit.ly, bit.ly/SLJ links. And you will see some very handy, easy to remember links that you can use in a very quick way to shut down the haters on the internet, because there's a lot of them and it's very stressful dealing with those assholes. Many of them, I think there's probably a few bots in there, but many of them are literally paid trolls. And they say one of like 3 or 4 things and they just keep hammering away. You can shut them down very quickly with these. And you know, I know a lot of people spend an entire evening going back and forth with some guy, and they wind up running themselves ragged. At the end of the night, they're emotionally drained. They feel terrible. Some asshole anonymous piece of garbage on the internet has managed to make them feel like their student loan problem is their fault. And there's no good reason for that, guys. Don't fall into that trap. You know, when we first started student loan justice, it happened all the time to me. I know exactly how that goes. Pretty soon, when you're on Twitter arguing, all of a sudden you're saying, no, but when I took my, and they're like, oh, well, what school did you go to? Oh, what'd you do? Oh, you did. Oh, you should have done this. You should have done that. You didn't know this. You didn't even check that. No, this is completely, that's how that goes. You wind up playing defense. Don't do that. There's no good reason to do that. Stay on the offense and go to our thing, bit.ly/SLJ links. And you'll see all these snappy comebacks to almost every single thing the haters say. Why should my tax dollars pay for your college? Bit.ly, taxpayers will be fine. That's one I need to make, actually. But maybe the easiest one is bit.ly/hear it from Tucker. And boom, up pops a video of Tucker Carlson saying pretty much everything that I've been saying tonight, that these loans are a national threat. And the colleges are very culpable. And bankruptcy needs to be returned to these loans. And oh, by the way, broad swaths of these loans are going to have to be canceled. That's Tucker Carlson saying that, believe it or not. Republican Tucker Carlson. So bit.ly/SLJ links, go there. I'm just going to leave that up for a minute. Hey, Gordon Wayne Watch says, forget all that stuff, buddy. I emailed my old buddy Bill Cotterell over the Democrat directly. He'll remember me. Yeah, Bill Cotterell was the article that we responded to. Hopefully he reads our article. But we can't leave everything up to Gordon. We're not leaving everything up to you, Gordon. You're not going to solve this battle for us, buddy. We all need to work and fight and win this battle together. It takes an army, or it takes a village. You pick your metaphor. We need your help. If you forget everything I say tonight, remember, go to our website, do our daily actions. This is your battle. These are your loans. Don't ever forget that. Gordon says, Ellen is smart. Listen to him. Okay. Thank you, Gordon. The one thing I do know about is student loans. Don't ask me about Miley Cyrus or like Nicki Minaj or Johnny Depp or Amber Heard. Don't ask me about those things. I don't know about those things. I know about student loans. Hey, Doug Grossfin's with us. How are you, Doug? The fight now with just the members in this group could make the complete difference. Don't be influenced by Biden's gimmicks. You're exactly right, Doug. Washington, D.C. in the current politics is not going to solve this problem for us. We need to take the bull by the horns. Nothing Biden is going to do or nothing Biden is going to not do is going to have almost any effect on this problem. The problem will persist. Any gimmick $10,000 loan cancellation is going to be nonsense. Quite frankly, any gimmick up to any amount, up to $50,000, up to $100,000, any gimmick like that will be bullshit, because up to, those words were put in there for a very good reason, ladies and gentlemen. Every lawyer knows what I'm talking about. Up to could mean nothing. It could literally mean nothing. And if the people at the Department of Education and Joe Biden and all his friends have their way, it will come to mean nearly nothing for almost everyone and absolutely nothing for many. That's how this lending program has always rolled. The most important policy point I'm going to make tonight And I think Doug or Terry or somebody mentioned this a little bit earlier. This whole thing depends on bankruptcy, guys. Whether you like bankruptcy or hate it. Hint, most people hate bankruptcy. Whether you want to file for bankruptcy or not, whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy does not matter. The founding fathers called for bankruptcy in the Constitution, and them removing bankruptcy, and by them I mean Congress, they have weaponized these loans against us. Unless and until we get the threat of bankruptcy returned to us through passing the key bill on that is S-2598. There's also another bill, HR 4907. But until we get the threat of bankruptcy back, guys, any loan cancellation that we're going to see from Joe Biden is going to be, pardon my French, bullshit. It will be meaningless. That is the most important thing I'm going to say tonight from a practical, realpolitik perspective. That's just the way it's going to shake out, guys. Only with the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, and few people, maybe even nobody, will actually have to file. Until we get the threat of bankruptcy back, we're screwed. We will continue to be screwed. Joe Biden could call a press conference tomorrow and say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cancel up to $100,000 in student loan debt. And I guarantee you that will come to mean almost nothing for almost everyone, because there will be means testing. There will be an application. There will be all manner of bureaucratic tricks that they can employ to not cancel loans, to disqualify people out of that loan cancellation. That is how that is going to go. How do I know this? Because we've seen 4 or 5 loan cancellation gimmicks come and go over the past 17 years, starting with ICR and then IBR and then pay and repay and public service loan forgiveness. You know what the cumulative rejection rate for those was? The disqualification rate was for all of those? It was well over 99%. So the Department of Education, Joe Biden, all the swamp people in Washington, D.C., they have no desire, no intentions of actually canceling loans. Now, when we get the threat of bankruptcy back on our side, in other words, when certainly federal student loans through S-2598, when federal student loans are treated the same as all other loans in bankruptcy proceedings, then all of a sudden the entire game changes. And Joe Biden, or the Department of Education, whatever you want to call it, they are going to have to cancel student loans very broadly, very meaningfully, very deeply. Because it's going to be either that or they get nothing. So you have no idea how important the threat of bankruptcy is, whether you would ever or never file. And I'm telling you guys, all this bullshit that we see in the media about is Biden going to cancel 10,000? Is he think he might go more than 10,000? Think he might go as high as 50,000? That's all bullshit. That whole argument is just nonsense. And believe me, guys, this group here, we started the whole national conversation about canceling student loans by executive order. It was our petition that we started in March 2020, and arguably it was really, in my world, it was actually an interview that we did with Vice News in August 2019. That was the very first media coverage of the concept of canceling student loans by executive order. That all started with us, guys. And, it wasn't until our petition was getting nearly front page news on Yahoo, on Fox News, on many other places. It was only when we were absolutely being blown up in the media that Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren embraced the concept. And I'm glad that they did. Make no mistake. And again, we're a nonpartisan group. We don't love Democrats, but I'm thrilled that Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer embraced the concept of canceling student loans by executive order. It's the sexiest, most elegant solution out there compared to any other kind of fiscal stimulus you can point to, PPP loans, etc. But we are very not thrilled with this up to $50,000 weasel wording that they stuck onto their proposal. So yeah, no matter what you want for your own loans, whether you want your loans canceled, whether you maybe want some kind of a break on the interest or forgiveness of something or some negotiated workout, or maybe you're done. Like maybe a few people on this group, not many, but I know a few people have simply had enough and they need to file for bankruptcy. Whatever you want to see happen for your own loans, we've got to fight for bankruptcy. I'm sorry, guys, that's what it comes down to. So that's the most important thing I'll say tonight. And towards that end, going to our website and doing our daily actions is the most important thing you could possibly do. So, and you're right, Doug. What we do on this group makes all the difference. Like I said, it was this group, the reason that we're even talking about student loan cancellation by executive order today, I think. It is absolutely because of the people on this group that we even have a meaningful bankruptcy bill to fight for in the Senate right now, S-2598, and it's getting close. We've got Republican co-sponsors on this bill, which is very good, which is unprecedented, actually. Unprecedented in the Senate, let me just say. This bill could pass a full Senate vote with probably 85 votes. Truly, it could. There are still a few bad guys out there, and yes, they tend to be Republicans. I just have to be honest. We're a nonpartisan group. But that's very good. I don't think we see many bills pass by more than about a 55-45 margin lately in the Senate. I think that a bankruptcy bill would pass with 85% of the vote in the Senate. That is one of the true secret strengths. This is one of the true great metrics of progress that we on this group have made over the past 2 years. While all the maelstrom's going on about student loan cancellation over here, quietly, all the opposition to returning bankruptcy to student loans is dropping away. It's evaporating. So you should be, particularly if you've been on this group for any length of time, more than 4 or 5 years or so, you should be very stoked that that is true. That is a massive, massive step forward for us. And so thanks to everybody, by the way. Hopefully I don't need to say this, but for all the people out there like Doug and Gordon and many others, Vanjie, many others who are doing the work, and I see you out there doing it, so I know. I salute you. You know I do. We are the pioneers on this. We are the veterans. We are the unsung heroes of this whole thing. And I mean, I appreciate and salute you. To everybody else, you need to pull your weight because we're not going to be doing your work for you. You can't sit back and wait and watch and worry and go, oh, I just read in Forbes magazine that this might happen. No, don't do that. That's what the bad guys want. The bad guys want you sitting, waiting, watching, worrying, walking around with your tail in between your legs, reading, hanging on every word of that the shysters at Forbes magazine decide to throw into your mind. Don't do that. That's what the bad guys want. Don't give them the pleasure. This lending system is failed. The loans will be canceled. The loans will not be paid. But there's a big fight as to whether that's going to happen soon or later. And when I say later, I mean potentially much, 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 much later. Like upon your demise later. So we don't want that, right? Yeah, everyone's on pins and needles. I'm not on pins and needles, Doug. I don't care what Biden does. I know that it's going to be nonsense. I just know. It's bullshit from the get-go. With the threat of bankruptcy return, everything changes. And that's when the game gets really interesting, when we have the threat, the leverage of bankruptcy back on our side. That's when loans actually start getting canceled. So that's when I'll be on pins and needles, when we actually have that power back on our side. So thanks again, Karen, and hang in there. As I said, I will post a link to the Twitter army as soon as I can after this live stream. Can't really do it now. Can't really do 3 things at once. But and by the way, if you haven't noticed, we are a truly grassroots group, as I said probably 5 times tonight already. The only way we're going to grow is when you help. If you know 5 people with student loans, 4 of them were screwed. 4 of them were never going to be able to repay their student loans, even before the pandemic, whether they told you or not. It's true. we need them here. We need them on our side. If you tell 5 people about our group, if you tell 5 people with student loans about our petition at change.org/cancel student loans, 4 of them, like statistically, in all probability, will be strongly inclined to sign, and they'll be glad to know about this group. Right now, 1.3 million people know about this group and have signed our petition and stuff. But we should have 40 million people because, as I said, 80%, 4 out of 5 of all student loan borrowers were losing sleep over their student loans even before the pandemic. That's like 42 million distressed student loan borrowers in the country who should be on our group. We're the only group who's fighting the actual fight here. We're seeing all these other groups join in the feeding frenzy. Oh, cancel 10,000, Joe. Cancel 10,000. Where's your pen? Da-da-da. That's all bullshit, guys. We're not doing that. We're fighting the actual battle to get student loans actually canceled, and that starts with bankruptcy. And I don't know why the other student activist groups out there, student loan activists, whatever they call themselves, I don't know why they're not fighting for bankruptcy. It's either because they're idiots, or in one case, they are straight up corrupted. Like, there's a student loan advocacy group out there who we've sussed out years and years ago. They're fake. They're AstroTurf. They are fighting against borrowers. They don't want to solve this problem. They're making too much money pimping this problem. There's some bad groups out there, guys. All is not what it seems. So I don't speak for them. I let the other groups defend themselves for their egregious failure and, I would say, gross negligence of the bankruptcy issue. Because, as I said, it all depends on bankruptcy and us getting that power back. So I can't speak for them, but this group right here is where it's at, guys. If there was another group actually fighting this battle, I would tear this banner behind me down, throw in the garbage, and I would join that group. But that group does not exist because that group is us. So the group does exist, and the group is us. We're it, guys. We're it. We're the center of. We are the eye of the storm. We are the tip of the spear. We are the teeth of the chainsaw in this battle. And we need you helping us. We need everybody with student loans to be helping us. And they will never know about us until you tell them about us. So please be an ambassador for student loan justice, if you would, please. And by the way, we're a very credible group. I know it may not seem like that, but we actually are. Like, we've been featured we've broken news on 60 Minutes, the Wall Street Journal, Inside Higher Ed, the Chronicle of Higher Education. We've written stuff in the New York Times, many other places. We've been interviewed by everybody you can imagine. In fact, we were featured top story on 60 Minutes a long time ago. That was our very first little thing. What of we speak? We've been around for some learned all the tricks and the traps that all the other groups that I see out there are playing right into, like a violin, and it's hard to watch. And frankly, it's very suspicious in at least a couple of cases. But anyways, I digress. This group is where it's at, guys. Shit you not. Pardon my French. Oh, we have more comments here. Hey, Evelyn, Lara Ferris is with us tonight. Hey, Evelyn, how are you? Hey, Kelly Kessler. How's it going, Kelly? Great question from Kelly. Do you anticipate there being a vote on S2598 before the midterm election? Yes, we absolutely anticipate, expect, have every reason to believe that S2598 will not only come up for a full Senate vote before the midterms, a heretofore unseen House companion bill will similarly be put to a full vote in the House before the November elections. The bad guys absolutely do not want bankruptcy return, guys. It's their kryptonite. They don't want it. They're going to do everything they can to kill the bill. No, I'm not even going to go there. I have every reason to believe that certainly the Senate bill will be voted on. And I'm telling you guys, even terrible, terrible senators like Richard Burr and let's say Mitt Romney and let's say Mike Brown in Indiana, even those guys are going to be strongly compelled to vote for S2598. They might, actually. And those are the worst of the lot. So I am extremely anticipatory about this. But guys, I'm telling you, we have opposition. This stuff does not happen in a vacuum. You know, what I hope to see, what I expect to see, Kelly, and what is actually going to happen, they could be two different things. And that depends truly, in very large part, on how hard the people on this group right here fight. I'm telling you guys, you have no idea how important you are. And I know you already know, Kelly, I see Kelly everywhere doing all the hard work. But I'm speaking more broadly I'm speaking past Kelly, if you would. So Karen, I wish you well with your Twitterings. Karen again says, wish I would have known about these groups from the beginning. I know, right? Nobody knows about us. And then when they find us, they're like, thank God, I thought I was all alone. I thought I was the only one. I wouldn't tell my wife or my husband. I wouldn't even tell my employer. I wouldn't tell my friends and family about my student loan problems. But now here I see it's not just me. No, it's not just you. In fact, not only is it not just you, it's 80% of everyone with student loans. We are not the minority ne'er-do-wells, you know. We're not the little black sheep skulking around the edges. We are the large majority of all student loan borrowers, guys. And that maybe is the strongest thing I'll tell you tonight. So thank you, Karen, and everybody. Take Karen's lead and help spread the word about this group. Obviously, the mainstream media is not going overboard to help us these days. So we got to work with what we got. And what we got is you. What we got is just people, just normal, pissed off people. And you should be pissed. Gordon Wayne Watts says, Nancy Pelosi seems less enthusiastic. Could be a problem. Yeah, guys, we have opposition across the aisle, guys. On student loan cancellation, Nancy Pelosi is a shark. She is strongly in line with some people calling themselves the Swig family, SWIG. Some kind of a rich old money, as old money gets in California. Some private, rich, wealthy, influential family. This Swig family, they say they want student loan cancellation, but the kicker, the caveat there is that they are against canceling student loans by executive order. They want to cancel student loans by Congress. And ladies and gentlemen, that will never happen. That is a joke strategy. Congress will never, ever pass a bill that raises $1 trillion+ in taxes, or maybe they cut from other programs. They are never going to pass a bill that raises $1 trillion or something to pay for student loan cancellation. That will never happen. It will never, ever, ever happen. So anybody fighting for that, they are actually only fighting for nothing. They're defeatists. They're pretend fighting. They're fake fighting. They're trying to make themselves seem important by saying they're for student loan cancellation, but saying it's, what can I compare it to? They're like, yeah, we want to build a mountain. And they give you like this little tiny shovel, like the size of a toothbrush. They're like, yeah, we're going to build a mountain. Yeah, that's how we're going to do it. There's probably a better analogy out there, but it's just nonsense. The Swig family is terrible. Pelosi is bought into them, hook, line, and sinker. So is Kamala Harris, by the way. In fact, most of the California politicians are in the pocket of the Swig family. Google it. It's not very impressive. It's actually a really terrible, horrible thing. So I think I just lost the live feed. I know you can still hear me, but okay, there it is. Still looking for your comments. And I hope everybody's having a good weekend. I know it's Memorial Day. And let me just say, guys, we have a lot of veterans in our group. In fact, that's kind of why I'm wearing my camouflage tonight. Not really, but this is a veteran ruining problem. It just is. You know, the GI Bill does not go nearly as far as you think it is. And for whatever reason, veterans are being targeted by the terrible for-profit colleges, and they are being hurt far worse than average by these student loans. So if you know a veteran out there, wish them a happy, well, they didn't die, so I guess you can't wish them happy Memorial Day. But if you know any veterans out there, tell them about this group, because we need them fighting for us and with us. There's a lot of veterans out there that are like, I use the GI Bill. Why my tax dollar pay for you? That's nonsense. Veterans are being wrecked by these loans. Don't forget that. And active duty people as well. Hey, Elizabeth Rachel's with us, and she says, that's me. I'm a veteran. Suck on that. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Elizabeth. We have a ton of veterans in this group, and here they are right there. Karen Standridge says, poor me, South Carolina. Oh, God. You know, I would be thrilled to live in South Carolina or North Carolina or Georgia or Mississippi or Tennessee or Texas, because those states are by far and away the worst hit states. And those are the states where the most amount of damage can be done by us. Good damage, very good damage. You know, Lindsey Graham has sold out the state of South Carolina. The Senator Tim Scott sold out the good people of South Carolina. And I would be going to town halls, and I would be marching in the streets. And I'm still marching the streets here in Wisconsin, believe it or not. But it's a very target-rich environment, let me just say, in the South. North Carolina is probably the worst state. Indiana is terrible. Doug knows about Indiana. Hey, Demetria Whitaker is here with us tonight. Hey, Demetria. She says, a lot of people don't believe it's going to happen, but I believe. You have to believe. And here's why you should believe. Guys, before the pandemic, nearly 2/3 of all borrowers were not paying on their loans. Before the pandemic, 64.3% of everybody was not paying on their loans. Today, almost nobody's paying. And I don't care what Joe Biden does or doesn't do. Whenever they try and turn this lending system back on, I'll be stunned if even 20% of the borrowers resume paying on their loans. It's not going to happen. In fact, I'd say it's probably closer to 15% at this point will actually resume paying. This lending system is vanishing into a mist of illegitimacy, guys. This lending system is going away. This lending system is done. It's failed like no other lending system has ever failed in our nation's history. And by the way, it wasn't our fault. We didn't break this lending system. This lending system tried to break us. Don't forget that. We're stronger than that, thankfully. So these loans are going away. The only question is whether they're going to go away quickly and cleanly in a way that stimulates the economy and makes patriotic citizens out of 57 million people who are being screwed, or whether there's something like a civil war that goes along with its violent unwinding. We don't want the civilly unrestful thing where people die, like probably even many good people on both sides. We don't want to see a violent, civilly, socially unrestful, years-long evisceration of this lending system. We would like to see a quick, clean death where Joe Biden or other people in Washington, D.C. acknowledge that this is a failed lending system and it needs to be replaced. That's the good death. That's the death we're fighting for, guys. And that's the death you need to be helping us fight for. But it could go that other way. And I don't want it to go that other way. And I hope that you don't also. So remember, guys, we're fighting a very good fight here. And what you do is very important. What you do is so important. You have no idea how important you are. Second time I've said that. And I'm stealing a line from John Connor of Terminator 4 fame. Doug Grossman says it's time to get back on Tucker and CBS Sunday. I agree, Doug. I couldn't agree with you more. You know, we've been, oh, that's right. We were featured on CBS Sunday a couple of weeks ago. I always forget to mention that. But it's time for us to go back. We have never been on Tucker, by the way, but we have been on Fox News many times, Dana Perino and others. We should be going on Tucker. We would love to go on Tucker. We can talk to Tucker eyeball to eyeball as a quasi-conservative, really. This is a very conservative argument that we're making here. You know, this is the worst big government college feeding, some would say socialistic lending scam in the history of our country. It's a red state wrecker. It's a veteran wrecker. It's a senior wrecker. It's a Texas wrecker. It's a Georgia wrecker. It's the entire South wrecker. Yeah, we would do very well speaking to Tucker. And Tucker is one of the few bright spots in a sea of darkness on the right hand side of this issue. Right now, it's the lending swamp. It's the bad guys. It's the rhinos. It's the people that are purposely stoking cultural, pre-existing cultural animosities in order to keep this lending scam alive. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves. And Tucker has called them out before, and I think he should call them out again. Similarly, we should go back. We should, or at least certainly our members or whatever, 60 Minutes needs to look at this piece again. 60 Minutes needs to do a revisitation of this problem. The last time they actually did a quality, thorough, deep dive on student loans was 2006. That was 17 years ago. Or 16 years ago. The problem has gotten far, 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 far worse since those long ago days in 2006. So great point. So don't be sad that you're in South Carolina, Karen. Be glad, because you are exactly where, quite frankly, I thought about moving to North Carolina. I actually had looked and had narrowed down an actual apartment that I was going to rent there. And at the last minute, I got kind of stuck here in Wisconsin because of the DNC convention. So I would be down there in the Carolinas, but for COVID and stuff like that. Hey, Leslie Fishman's with us tonight. How are you, Leslie? Thank you for your service. I don't think you're thanking me, Leslie. I think you're thanking Elizabeth. And yes, thank you for your service, Elizabeth. Veterans, probably less than anyone, deserve to be screwed by these loans. So thank you, and I'm glad that you're here. And I hope you'll spread the word and speak out, because it is our silence and our embarrassment and our manufactured fake shame that gets put on us. It is those things that keep us quiet. It is those things that keep us from winning. So don't be afraid to speak out. We got this. As I said, we're 80% of all federal student loan borrowers, guys. 80%. We're probably 60, 70, 80% of all private student loan borrowers as well. But none of that matters unless you help us flex this muscle. We've got a Popeye muscle to flex. And that only means anything when you sitting there, instead of waiting, watching, worrying, you help us flex the muscle. It's the only way. So throw off the shame, throw off the guilt, toss that out the window in the garbage. You don't need that. That does nothing good for you. Help us. And it feels good to fight. I think Gordon gigs on it. I gig on it. I think Leslie would agree. Probably Demetrius, probably Doug, and certainly Terry and others. They will tell you it feels good to fight this battle. I like to say, in my humble opinion, nobody should ever pay another dime on their federal student loans. It does no good. It's only feeding the beast. Your resources, and I don't mean your money, I mean your energy and your resources, like maybe the energy you would have spent working to get money to pay your student loans. Your resources, your energy are far more effectively deployed helping us fight. We're fighting the good fight, guys. We're armed with nothing more than the truth. That's it. As I said, we don't have little snaky handshake deals with bad people. We're not doing any secret handshake deals with snakes behind the scenes. None of that bullshit. Some of the other groups, hey, let them defend themselves. We don't do any of that. The only money we make, by the way, is relatively minuscule amounts of donations from normal people. We don't make revenue by selling ads. We don't have any weird little secret deals with law firms. None of that bullshit. We don't do any of that, guys. And that's the way we decided it would be many years ago, because that allows us to speak the truth and only the truth, and maintain our 1000% intellectual and ethical purity. So don't forget that. That's, in my opinion, the most important thing I will say tonight. And make a donation if you can. No, that's okay. We had to raise $40 today, and we did that. So we're good for this week. We'll be probably needing to raise $400 or $500, maybe $600 next week, but It's not a lot, guys. It's nothing compared to what our opposition spends against us. Demetrius says, definitely feels good. That's great. Karen says, I haven't paid a dime in years, but it's getting scary. Yeah, don't be scared, Karen. As I like to say, the federal student loan people are way more afraid of us than we should be of them. They are a paper tiger. And by the way, the bad guys on this, our opposition, when the lights are turned on, right? Like if they're sitting there in public with a name, with a face and accountability, they run and hide like cockroaches when the lights are turned on, when we come around. That's how strong we are, guys. It's like oil and water. It's like they flee from us. It's funny. I'll tell a quick story. One time in 2007, we were invited to present on a panel at the Education Writers Association of America National Conference in North Carolina, believe it or not. It was UNC Charlotte. And we were invited to speak on this panel along with speakers from some of the lending companies. I can't remember all of them. I think Terry was one of them, a private lender, some other lender. Sally Mae was asked to sit on this panel with us. Well, what do you think happened? I'll tell you what happened. Not only did Sally Mae decline to sit and speak on this panel with us, Sally Mae, which at the time was by far and away, and maybe still is today, the largest student loan company in the nation, they pulled out of the entire conference. All because of little old us. Isn't that hilarious? And that is how it has always gone for us. Every time we try and engage the bad guys in a public, identified, like people couldn't hide behind fake names, public, honest debate, the bad guys decline, or they run and they hide like cockroaches when the lights are turned on. So we have this battle, guys. We've got this fight in hand. Don't ever forget that. But it's only meaningful when you help us. You can't sit and wait and watch and worry and eat pizza. You can't be all, yeah, Doug, you go, Doug, you go. And, hey, would you give me a piece of pizza while you're up? No, Doug is not going to pull your weight for you. Doug's got his own weight to pull, and Doug's pulling his weight. Same with Demetrius. Same with everybody else here. They're doing the hard work. If you are not, then I'm not going to say another word. Go to our website, do our daily action. Okay, I said couple more words. You know what to do. Don't hide, don't run and hide like the cockroaches, like our opposition does. Don't do that. We are fighting a fight that we should have our chins held high about. We are fighting. The founding fathers are on our side, guys. Make no mistake. The founding fathers are probably looking down on us right now and they're saying, how did our citizens get so weak? How did they allow themselves to be conquered and enslaved by this nonsense, this nonsensory coming from Washington, D.C.? Why have they not overthrown this government already? I'm sure that's what the founding fathers would be saying, maybe even are saying as they're looking down upon us. I don't know. But I know that's what they would be saying if they were looking down. So don't be weak, be strong. It's far funner to be strong. You feel better, you sleep better. And it helps you in many, many different ways. It's cathartic. So, all right, guys, with that, let me check my Twitter thing. Usually we don't get too many comments on Twitter, but let me just make sure. So I will be back tomorrow. Veterans Day proper, Memorial Day proper. Ed will be back with you on Tuesday. But keep fighting, guys. This is a 24/7 thing. 24/7 thing. I'm doing this thing almost every waking hour of the day these days. That's how busy we've gotten. I don't know how I'm going to last another 6 months at this rate. It's only getting worse. The amount of time and energy I put in this thing is just overwhelming and astonishing. But I'm not asking you to do this 24/7. I'm asking you to do it for 2 fucking minutes a day. Pardon my French. It's not that hard to do our daily actions. It's the very least you can do. And as I said, also read our Medium articles. Become a fit, fine, fighting student loan justice warrior. You can do that in an evening just by reading those articles. Very important stuff in there. Very important unreported stuff in there that the media needs to know about. They need to be reporting. Shame on them for not. But do that, and it will help just tremendously. So, all right, guys, I'm going to leave it there at that. Let me just one more last quick go around. Oh, and by the way, if you are new to the group and you want to really help, then do at least a week, if not a month, if not even 2 months worth of our daily actions. Also, very last thing I'm going to say, go to our website again, as I said, and there's something on there on the main page says special action. Once you get a Twitter account, go and do that special action and do it every day. It's fun. It's like a box of chocolates. I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to let you see it for yourself. So it looks like we have one comment on Twitter, and it is from Matt Kearns. Hey, Joanna Kearns, how are you? Just thanking us. Well, thank you, Joanna. You know, Joanna's down there in Florida. She's doing the hard work. I see her working every single day, and I salute Joanna. I salute everybody that I've said their names tonight, as a matter of fact. We are the pioneers, guys. We are the pioneers. We are the tip of the spear. We are the eye of the storm. We are the tooth of the chainsaw. So don't forget that. And with that, I'll see you on Tuesday. Hang in there. Godspeed. Good luck. And God bless everyone.